What's up everyone, Springer17 here to come to you with a quick video comparing the two Studio Series 86 Perceptor figures that we've had recently. I'm just going to go through primarily the alt mode, the robot mode, because that's where the key differences are. You can see most of the differences in that mode anyway. There's not really a lot of difference in the alt modes themselves, apart from the fact that the new one is effectively missing one, unfortunately. So we're going to take a look at what the key differences are, just in case any of you are looking to upgrade or change over, or are looking for one of these and can't decide whether to get the previous 86 model or the new version. So on the left here we have the original Studio Series 86 Perceptor. Let me just move that out of the way because it's casting a lot of shadow. But I thought this was a really nice version of the character. I love the colours were fine, if a little muted. I mean, that blue isn't probably as bright as it could have been. I liked the red. I liked the fact that it just came with the gun accessory, just the regular Autobot style gun there. Posability was perfectly fine. Everything you'd expect from really a modern deluxe figure. No wrists, unfortunately, but some good movement in the legs. These joints in the legs are an absolute pain. They're better on the new one, but these joints in the legs are an absolute pain. As you can see, it's getting about halfway out there and then that's bending instead, so you've kind of got to hold it in place and push out the rest of the way. So that's just obviously part of the transformation for his alt mode. And then you've got the lovely magnifying lens on the top, which is nicely posable. You can move it around, you can fold it down, you can sort of have it all out of the way here. Key thing, or key difference that's sort of between these two is primarily in the deco, and this is much more metallic on the face here. The sort of yellow at the top is kind of a metallic gold rather than that. This chest panel here is clear plastic on this one. I don't have any problems with that. It seems to be quite a sturdy piece of clear plastic, but I know that does worry some people. And it does mean that the Autobot symbol is just visible through the front there, so it's not as prominent as perhaps it would be. These legs are really the most irritating bit, because you can see it would rather snap the thighs in two than actually bend at the hips like it should do. Like I said, it's got all the rest of the articulation that you'd want from a modern deluxe. Feet don't go forward and back. You can bend the toe down. It's mostly for transformation, but they do rock out a little bit. And yeah, it was a really nice version, and I thought, yeah, that's fine. That's not an issue. I wanted a new Perceptor. My previous one was Titan's Return, which was okay, but it wasn't kind of like the G1 style. Once they brought out Studio Series 86, I was like, yeah, I definitely need to upgrade that now. And then, in all their infinite Hasbro-ness, they came up with a new one, which is almost exactly the same. There are a few key differences. So the shade of plastic is different. Some of it is painted plastic, so you can tell there's a difference with the colours on here. Why is that falling over? You can tell there's a difference in colour matching from sort of the legs, which are plastic, and the body, which is painted. Not too out there. It's a bit of a sort of kind of a deeper, it's not as bright a red as the original one. Still no additional wrist swivels, but the grey plastic is much lighter now. That's not quite black, but it's definitely darker than the new one. You've also got the legs that now still break, but it's not quite as bad. They're not as prone to sort of moving. You see it's taking that one actually bent out without snapping into, which is excellent. And you are welcome, Perceptor. The gun's exactly the same, obviously just made out of the newer plastic, so it's a different shade red. This now, there's a little bit less paint on here, which is unfortunate, because I did like the sort of painted edge round here and it being clear through the middle, because that one's actually got clear plastic on the end, but it's not necessary to have that, and it still looks nice along with everything. Same posability. It was just a bit stiff because I've not moved it around as much. Another big difference is in the head. So this is much more of a matte. There's no glossy kind of metallic paint on there. It is just more of a standard glossy paint. So it's not as shiny. And as I said, it's a bit paler, which matches a bit more to the actual animation in the 86 movie. But I didn't have a problem with how they did the previous one. I didn't really need that to be changed. The front chest panel is now regular, so it's not clear plastic. So it's probably going to last a little bit longer. And it's also got an Autobot symbol on the front and on the inside. You can see there where it was a sort of brown colour and it's been painted red on this torso piece. I don't quite know why, because none of it actually has to be brown. You can see it under there as well. But yep, that's just a bit of an odd choice that they made. Another key difference between the two, which again was a big thing, looking at the back of them, there's a big hole in the back of the original one. So there was no panel built there to cover this gap. And when you did the transformation, spin the head around, fold it in, you could still see the head in the alt mode. Whereas on the new version, you open up this panel, you can still spin the head, but obviously now you don't have to because he's not going to be looking out. And then you fold that up. And it just looks a little bit cleaner. Again, that back panel didn't bother me. It has meant that they've changed some of the engineering. You see the new one is wider to accommodate that hinge. So it gives him a bit more of a bulkier presence. But that is, again, sort of one of the primary benefits of the new one that we've got here. Let's leave our headless Perceptors there, because there are another couple of key reasons why I wanted to get the newer one, and that's these two, Ramhorn and Ratbat. So as it stands, this is the only way you can get a Studio Series 86 compatible official Ramhorn, is by buying the new Perceptor with the 2 cassettes that he comes with. You could get a Ratbat in Siege, and it's been in the Spy Patrol and everything, but you didn't get the additional accessory on the back. I will talk about that in a moment as well, because I think they've made an odd choice there. I'm not entirely sure why they did it that way, but that's fine. These guys are very simple transformations, as I'm sure you can imagine. So you can fold the head back. For Ratbat, you can leave these parts on, but obviously it won't fit inside the chest of Soundwave with those on. Fold up the legs, fold down the wings, flip it up, and there you go. It's a folded up bat. It doesn't really look much like a cassette. Take this off, fold this peg down, and there you go. It looks possibly a little bit more like a cassette from this side, but not particularly convincing. I mean, there's obviously some chunks missing out. Again, with the recent announcement of the Studio Series 86 Soundwave and the fact that that's coming with the 3 Laserbeak, Ravage and Buzzsaw, I'm very excited to get more of a set, because I do have the core class Frenzy, but I didn't have any of the others. So that was, again, a major reason why I wanted to get this new Perceptor, just to get myself a Ratbat in my collection. I was going to go with my Legacy Soundwave, and now it's going to go with, hopefully, Studio Series 86. Ramhorn, again, fairly simple, straightforward transformation. You have to pull off these parts around the side. They just peg in, sort of provide the rear end and the cannons on the side. I mean, it doesn't look ridiculous without those on. It's just not the Ramhorn that you know. It's missing some key parts. But transformation-wise, flatten those out, fold the horn up, spin the head all the way around so it tucks in underneath, and then these legs, doesn't matter which order you do them, you can just slide them in to the side there. And that is a possibly slightly more convincing tape, because it's actually got tape reels here. For anyone that doesn't know what a tape is, go ask your parent/grandparent. I'm unfortunately old enough to have used them, but I do like this mode. Now, the issue that I have with these is that it kind of just leaves these extra bits. I mean, like I said, this bit, if you fold up this peg, you can just plug it back onto Rat-Bat for storage if you're not going to keep him inside, upside down, if you're not going to keep him inside Soundwave or another cassette deck, tape deck robot. But other than that, they kind of just, it advertises them as guns. They're not really guns. I mean, I don't know why they've done the middle part of this. You can pull these parts off. I don't know why they've done that middle part in red plastic to match Perceptor, when not only is it designed to go on Rat-Bat, who is this sort of deep pink kind of colour, but it's also, Rat-Bat is a minion of Soundwave, not Blaster, so he's not even an Autobot. So why would he want a piece of plastic that matches the Autobot colours on it? I don't know why they've made that decision, but it was a decision that has been made, and unfortunately we're now stuck with. Luckily, when it's actually in use on the back of Rat-Bat, you obviously don't see that plastic unless you're looking at the back of it, and it's only a very small piece. The way it advertises these, I'm going to just demonstrate, is that you can rotate those around and you can pop them in the hand of Perceptor. Now, this is actually what's shown on the box. It just looks ridiculous. It's just a way for them to say, look, we've got accessories. It's similar to how they did with Steeljaw, where you had the little speaker bit that you could pop onto Blaster's hand, except now they're coming with Perceptor. They're just like, we kind of need a reason to advertise these with Perceptor. So yeah, let's just say those can be weapons. It looks a bit ridiculous. I'm never going to put that in his hand again. Even worse with ram horns, one, because it's just a long stick. You can see the inside of and the unpainted parts of the rockets on the side there. So as much as they look good from that side, nice and fully painted and a nice sort of goldy yellow paint, you can just see all of the little fittings and bits from there. It's not really much of a weapon, and I have no reason to believe it will look any better with Blaster either. But I suppose with how they've done all of these, especially with sort of the few core class cassette releases they did, they really needed to have some way of utilising the additional accessories that they kind of needed to make the alt modes complete and actually match them to what they were originally designed as in the 86 movie. But they have kind of just they're kind of just there. You just really need them for the alt modes for the cassettes, which do look amazing. If I can spot it, I don't. Oh yes, I can actually. I've just got, just as a comparison, the last time we saw a ram horn that wasn't a G1 reissue, it was the Titan's Return, a little Titan Master one, which I like the design of. It's definitely a Rhino, but obviously it didn't turn into a cassette. It's also got a head under there for no reason. So yeah, I sort of like the design, but it's not really of much use for what a ram horn's supposed to be. Whereas this one will fit very nicely with Blaster and all of the cassettes that I've got for him now. With Eject, Rewind, and Steeljaw. Don't know whether they'll release any more, particularly official ones, but we'll just have to wait and see what comes out. It is a shame that they've cancelled the core class, because that was where we were going to get those, but they were kind of shortchanging us with sort of like the pricing of that anyway, because they were priced as core, but obviously they're only a tiny little cassette, so they had to throw in a load of extra junk just to make it actually reasonable to expect us to pay those prices. Whereas here they've just said, you know what, let's just release another figure that's not related to these cassettes at all, and make people who want to complete the collection buy a brand new figure of something that they've possibly already got, and then we can justify selling them again at a higher price, because this came as a Voyager rather than a deluxe. But that's my look. Very quick comparison between the two versions of Studio Series 86 Perceptor. I definitely prefer the new one, not just because of the back panel and the improvements, but the colours are nicer, and the fact that it goes it's sort of just a generally much better. I mean, it's got a few better tolerances and things like that. It's missing the tank mode, unfortunately, which is a shame, but it's not really a lot of people that would have kept it in the tank mode. It's nice to have as sort of like a little homage to the original, but not necessarily something that's needed for Perceptor. So anyway, thanks very much for watching. Hope some of you may have found this useful. And until next time, be kind to yourselves, be kind to others, and I'll catch you later.